So Sunny, how you doing today?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm pretty good. All right, so if you just want to tell the people where you located, if you want to
Yeah,
give your name and all that stuff, so everyone knows.
for sure. I'm Sunny. Soul Beauty Lounge is my baby. Soul is sunny, like sun in Spanish, so that's why it's called that. But I prefer to be called Sunny, just so I don't get people confused. But we are in Orlando, Florida.
Now, how many employees do you have working with you?
I have one person right now. She came on in February, and it's been super exciting. Since then, my first employee, and it's kind of weird to say that as a small business owner, but I'm sure you know it's like a really big accomplishment and a lot of learning curve.
Definitely is. I know it's like a little scary when you hire your first one because you're like, is she going to be busy enough? Do I have the clientele for her? And then
Yeah,
once you have them and they start getting busy, now you're like, wow, this worked out. Like
yeah.
everything's good. Now, do you guys specialize in different things or are you both mainly like waxers or facialists?
So here we're a full body waxing studio. We do also do intimate lightening. Our most popular service is Brazilians. It's what I prefer to do. But we are in the future looking toward specializing in some different things like, brow powder and all of that area in aesthetics, because it's something that her and I are both very interested in. But as of right now, it's mainly waxing. I absolutely love waxing. I went to school because I thought I wanted to do facials. And then once we actually got into the practicals, I was like, forget facials. I'm like, I'm a waxer. Like I'm a wax girly. So, it's my passion for sure.
Okay, now what would you say you mainly use or favor more hard wax, soft wax, sugar?
So I like both. So speaking in terms of soft wax or hard wax, I do like both. There are certain ones that I would use for a particular body area. So Brazilian, I would go with hard wax, although there are estheticians that use soft wax. Soft wax has come a long way from what it used to be. Like I remember when I started waxing as a client, they used soft wax. But again, like the formulas are a lot more luxurious than they were then. I haven't tried it for Brazilian wax myself, but I do for back, for full back, for legs, for arms. And I prefer to use soft wax on fine hair as opposed to coarser hair. So that is one thing. I think they all have their learning curve, and each esthetician or each waxer specifically, I should say, should you shouldn't turn away from one completely just based on what people say. You should definitely try it yourself. Now, when it comes to sugaring, I took a sugaring class. It was a lot of fun. I have a respect for sugarists. I know that there's like this. I feel like there's these two teams, when it comes to waxing, where it's like sugarist versus like hard wax specialist. I like them both. My hat's off to sugarists because the wrist work that is involved in that is insane.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
truly an art form. Both are, but definitely there are different techniques for both. So I don't prefer one over the other. I think they both have their benefits.
Yeah, and what you said about how soft wax has like come a long way now. I know with us, we mainly sell hard wax here. Like that's like our number one type of wax that we sell. But when we do beauty shows, it's like 50% of the people come up and they're like, "Do you have soft wax?" And we're
Yeah.
just like, we don't have that much because that's not really what we sell.
Yeah.
So the second beauty show we did, we brought a lot more soft wax and we still sold out. And I was just like, how come our online orders aren't soft wax, but the beauty shows are soft wax? So
Yeah.
it's definitely like definitely coming up in the world, I guess. Now with sugaring, because I know when you wax regular, like your wrist does get tired and from pulling and all that. Would you say sugaring is a lot more wear and tear on the wrist, or is it about the same?
I would say that it's a bit more, and it's again because of again I am not a sugarist specialist, so by any means, like this is just from my experience based on the class I took, and then just like doing it at home. Like I'll do my legs with sugar at home sometimes just because it's easy. I don't have to heat anything up, just pop it in the microwave and it's done. Sugaring does take a bit of a toll on your wrist as opposed to hard wax, because hard wax, if your bed is positioned correctly, if you're standing the correct way, then it's easy to just apply the wax in with pressure in the direction of the hair, and then position yourself in a way where it's easy for you to just pull. And it's one pull, right? Like one very quick pull that you want to do, as opposed to sugaring. You kind of have to really work that sugar into the hair, into the skin, and then make sure you're pulling, like, I wouldn't say forcefully, that might not be the most gracious word to use, but you really want to make sure that you're very consistent with your constant pulls, which again can really be straining on this area of your wrist. So definitely do your exercises, do your little hand stretches in between clients, because that really helps.
What, like you just said, forcefully. I know it doesn't sound great, but
Yeah.
it is true because I've seen a lot of waxers where when they lift their strip, it's more of a like a light pull rather
Sure.
than like a rip. And then
Yeah.
when they do that light pull, it's like all you're doing is breaking the hair on top. It's like you're shaving them. It's not pulling from the root. So you definitely have to give that like a good, you know, like
You want to be, I guess, assertive,
yeah.
right? Like you want to be assertive when you're pulling your strip,
Mhm.
because like you mentioned, you can break the hair. And then it's also it's a lot more painful for your client as well when you're doing it slowly.
Mhm.
And it's more difficult, it's more work for you, because now you might have to go over the area again. You're going to have to probably do more tweezing afterwards. So, I mean, application and then removal, the two most important things.
All right, so I would like to back it up now. If you could just
Mhm.
talk about what school did you go to become certified, and then how long have you been certified now?
So I got my license. I first went to Aveda, and then I ended up having to leave Aveda for some personal reasons. And then when I was able to come back, I went to, I think it was Hollywood, or I generally don't remember the name, but it was some school here in Colonial. I was just like, I just need to get into the school that has availability now. Because at that point I was like, okay, I need to get back on my plan. So I did that. I graduated, did my practicals and all of that stuff. And that was when was that? That was 2019. Actually, that was 2019. I told myself I would work for a franchise for a year. I did, after, I was gonna say after school activities, but that's not what it is. Further education. I did further education just to make sure I was building on my skill. And then I started my business in 2020. No, in 2021. Yeah. 2020, I made the decision. 2021, I put it into practice.
Now, how long would you say the course took you to complete for school?
For school, I think it was like 6 months. Yeah, I
Okay.
think it was like 6 to 8 months, if I remember. It was a full specialist course. So here in Florida, they do, from what I'm aware, it's a full specialist. So they train you in facials. It's the bulk of it, then waxing, and then nails as well. Nails, I didn't like anything else but waxing. Waxing was like my true love, and that's
Yeah.
what I stuck with. Unfortunately, with a lot of the schools, from my experience, as not including schools that are a bit smaller,
Mhm.
like Obeda's a pretty like large school, I would say. They don't really teach you a lot of technique. They teach you more. And I tell my clients, or I tell people who are interested in going to aesthetics, you are going to do a lot of biology. Like that's the bulk of what you're learning. It's about the skin. It's about our systems. It's about the kind of method of facials and products, and all of those things, but you're not truly learning technique. That's why you want to either go work under somebody after graduating, or you want to have money aside to invest in further education, because it's super important.
I think that's why it's becoming so popular, like all these online wax classes that regular estheticians are making, or so now my question with that for you is, have you ever thought of doing your own like sunny online Brazilian wax course or
Yeah.
anything?
Yeah. So it's really funny you mentioned that, because I did film like an entire Brazilian wax video, like in depth, close up shots, my setup, all of that stuff. We did that in July. It is August. I still have not edited anything, because
What?
editing is like my least favorite thing. But
Yeah.
it's gonna be really good. I am really excited about it. I have done private classes before,
Mhm.
and I do offer them, but usually like people DM me, then I'll let them know the information, and then we'll go from there. But I am working on that video, which I'm very excited for. I just need to stop procrastinating. So.
Okay, so two questions. Are you going to make like a website just for the course, or are you going to add it to your website? And
Mhm.
two, how much are you thinking of charging for your course, or do you not want to say it yet?
No, no, I don't mind. So, it won't be on my website per se because I use Gloss Genius. And Gloss
Okay.
Genius, they're still fairly new. There's a lot of new features they're adding, which I'm really excited for. So I'm not able to post it on Gloss Genius, but I'll probably be able to. I still use my Square account, and with them, I do have a website. So I probably will make that public again, rebrand, redesign, and put it on there. As far as cost goes, it'll be a video, so it will be significantly cheaper than, or I guess like more affordable than the one-on-ones in
Yeah.
person classes, which I was at, I believe the last one, it was 1800. So when I say significantly, I mean like significantly, like probably between maybe 350 to five or something, around that ballpark. I still have to um go in and just write all the numbers down. You have to go through, all your numbers, what you spent making this, how much I paid the videographer and the editing, all of that stuff. And then once I have that breakdown, I'll know for sure. But I would like to keep it around that range because I want it to be accessible for a lot of estheticians. The times, I mean, we're all living in this world together right now and we know what's happening, so things are a lot more expensive. I feel like aesthetics is becoming a lot more popular because it gives people the power to be able to work for themselves, and do something that they're passionate and love. However, I do think that financially, we're all kind of we're all in understanding of what's going on. So I would like to make it a bit more accessible to people. This is going to be a course that, as of right now, it is only going to be accessible to people who have their license, because that is something that I am a little bit of a stickler about, and it's
Yeah.
people waxing or doing anything in aesthetics without a license. It is very important. I get it, like everybody's doing the certifications, and in certain states, I'm not sure if that's okay or not. I know in Florida, you have to have your license. So right now, those are like the only parameters.
Now, would you say, have you told a lot of people about it yet? Like, do you have a waiting list basically, or once
So
you
I
do it,
have,
you're gonna announce it?
yeah. So I have not done that. I should do that, but I
Yeah.
have not done that. But I probably will once I'm like, okay, this is a rough edits, I know I'm not going to procrastinate for another 2 months. I think that's the main thing with being your own boss and having, there's just so many different, there's so many moving parts.
Yeah.
It gets difficult. And just, I mean, we have personal lives as well. Our emotional and mental health and spiritual health take a toll. And I was there at the beginning of my business. Now I feel like I'm a little more lax, but it's a little bit too lax. So I went from one extreme to the other. So I need to find the middle ground.
Yeah.
And that's what we're doing. That's the space that I find myself in right now.
It's definitely when you first start off, you feel like you're running at 100 miles an hour, and it really feels like a hamster on a wheel. Like if you're not
Yeah.
working, then the wheel isn't turning. But then once you hire the receptionist and another employee, and your business is basically running without you, now you do fall into the crap. I feel like I have nothing to do. Like I have all this space now. And then I think that's where it starts to creep into your mind. Like, what am I doing with my life? Like, I have all this free time. I feel like I'm not accomplishing anything. Like, because having a successful business and having your time where you feel like you're doing something that matters are two different things. Like, you have to still have that. You feel like what you're doing is like giving back to the,
Yeah.
to the community and all that. So, um, with that, I do want to ask, with where you are now,
Mhm.
if you had to speak to the 2019 version of yourself,
Yeah.
what would you tell them? Would you tell her, yes, go to that school, yes, open that salon, or would you
Yeah.
say, okay, maybe you should look at something else?
Yeah. I say, girl, trust God. Like I would
Yeah.
100% tell her, trust God. Um,
Mhm.
that is the main thing, and I owe to him a lot of my success because, and if we were to get more in detail, the way that everything came about was so quick. It was. I'm I can't take full credit for it because a lot of the times I was like, I don't know what I'm doing, but let's go ahead and do this. But I'm like, we'll see how if that sticks or not. And it stuck each time. And I was like, okay, yay. I'm like, okay, cool. We're doing good. So I would tell her to trust God. I would tell her to go to a smaller school. I would also tell her to put herself first. The reasoning why I had to like drop out and then come back is because I was tending to other people. And so I would say, have your plan, stick to it, stay focused, and be selfish. Being selfish isn't a bad thing. We have to be selfish first at times to then be selfless because you can't give when you don't have anything to give. And so that's 1,000% what I would tell her, and I'm happy that she kind of got it because
It's true because if you're like a glass of water, you can't
yeah,
fill anyone else's glass if you're empty. So you
no.
have to make sure you're full first before you go around pouring into everyone else. So that's huge. Okay, now a little bit about waxing. Would you say you're more of a cream base woman or gel base?
So it's really funny. I am the cream queen. I love a creamy wax. Yeah, I love a creamy
Yeah,
wax. I've recommended the I'm sorry, not what is it called? Coral. The coral wax. It's an
yeah.
extremely creamy wax. I love working with it. I think you do need to know the temperature because it works differently on depending on what temperature the wax is in, but I love it. I do like gels or hybrids between gel and creamy. What I will say is with creamy waxes, it on a certain temperature that it will work perfectly with someone who has coarse hair. It won't work as efficient with someone who has fine hair. So with someone who has fine hair, I think a gel wax you can kind of get away with using it at whichever temperature, as opposed to the creamy wax. It needs to be at a very specific temperature to work for fine hair.
Speaking of that, I know people and it makes sense. They use three different type of waxes, and for coarse hair, they'll use like coral, which is cream, and then to get the finer hairs, the pickup strips, they'll use either crystal or orchid. But then for like legs and back, as you mentioned, they'll use soft wax. So it's
Yeah.
like those, and I think soft wax is great because for the large areas, it's quick. Like you could just lay it, rip it,
Hmm.
instead of having to sit there making a lip and all that stuff. So I
Hmm.
think that's why like those three, would help in those situations. Um, okay, now I want to get to the main reason why I first wanted to speak to you, and that is about our affiliate program.
Yeah.
So you hit the ground running. Like I remember when I first spoke to you, I was like, I think you would do amazing at this, and we set things up and all that. And then you did so well that I had to take a step back, like, holy crap, like I wasn't prepared for this. I thought like he was gonna move a little bit of product, like, and I'm
Yeah,
over here
yeah.
talking to my employees, like, I'm like, where's all the wax going? And they're like, it's going to Sunny. Like, she's doing this. And I was just like, holy crap. So I had to
Yeah,
reach back out to
yeah.
you, like, okay, I wasn't ready for what you bring to the table and all
Mhm.
that. So it's like, it's Thanksgiving. I had this little table and you brought this big turkey, and it's like, so I just want to ask, what are some things that has worked for you? What are
Yeah,
some things that you wish you knew sooner? Like, man, I should have been doing Brazilian videos earlier. I should have been doing leg videos or
mhm,
voiceovers. Like, what
yeah.
has worked for you, and what do you wish that you would have done from the beginning, which would have probably helped you grow faster than what it did?
You mean with the affiliate program specifically or business in
Yeah,
general?
with the affiliate program specifically.
So with the affiliate program specifically, being consistent online, honestly, being consistent online, even if you don't do a voiceover and you just put a music over it, getting the close-up shots of how the wax works, and then knowing the type of audience that you are catering to are key, because those are the people that, so I have a lot of people who are estheticians, who are waxers, looking for their perfect wax, you know, looking for the perfect match, or at home waxers, people who like to wax themselves and they just don't know what to use, but they don't want to order the kit from Amazon. So knowing the type of people that you are making the videos for is extremely helpful. And then making sure you get good lighting, clear shot of the area that you're working on, I feel like has really helped me. I feel like my underarm waxes are very popular. And then I have the beard waxing video. So whenever you get people like that that are waxing an area that people don't see often online, like underarms are everywhere, you know, those are probably what's going to get you a lot of views. So if there is a waxer who is part of your affiliate program and she's not getting as many orders as she would like, because the benefits are amazing, you know, and she's not, I would recommend, I'm like, get your dad, get your boyfriend, get your husband, get whatever man is in your life, tie him down and wax him, you know, because I feel like after that video, it really, from, if I recall correctly, that's the video that kind of like really got a lot of orders coming in.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think I did tell you this one. It was one evening because we get a lot of orders, you know, on a daily, but at one evening, it was like 20 within like 2 minutes. And like that's not normal. Like it was
Yeah,
just like, because you know, there's the notification bell, and it was just like, and I'm like, what the hell's
yeah,
going on? So I'm trying to figure it out. So I go on Instagram, I don't see anything. I go on TikTok, and then boom, that's where I saw it. It was, I believe, your beard, the beard video,
I
or
think
there
it
was
was.
that, and then an underarm video had gotten like 1 million views or 3 million views and all that. So it definitely helped. Now with that, you know, for people who are like, I don't have anyone to wax, or every time I ask someone, they always say no. What would you suggest? What are tips that you would say, like, what would you say to a dad or a boyfriend? Like, hey, like, you're my family. You got to help me no matter what. Or like, what would you say to them?
Well, I think it's a tricky question. It's a great question, but it is a tricky question because the from my perspective, the people in your life, you know, if they know this is something that you're wanting to do, um, they're going to be okay with being waxed by you, right? Whether it be a pinky finger, a toe, whatever. If they are not, that's okay, you know, no need to like write them off of your life, but now you know the type of rapport that you have with that person. At least this is again from a personal perspective. Um, at that point, I would say seek outside. You should, if you already went to school, you should be making friends with the people that you're going to school with. You should be making friends with other estheticians, networking, because I can't tell you enough. My waxing video that we did for the class, it was one of my esthetician friends, right? I met her long ago. So you have to network, okay? If you're not there yet, but it's something that you're working toward, put a sale up or something, or put a note of, you know, a story or announcement on your story of, you know, I don't know, $10, $15, whatever, something, anything that can be, or 10% off, to get people in the door so you can get this content. I find with the clients that you may have, and from other estheticians I've spoken with, clients are very open to be recorded, right? Especially because if they're coming to you, they're coming to you because they like you. They're coming to you because they feel a connection toward you and they see what you're doing. So they understand. I think everybody now understands that social media is the way that we grow our business. It's another way of us growing our businesses. So a lot of people are very open to being recorded. You know, whether you're waxing an underarm or a leg. And for those who aren't, again, that's okay. They're also going to respect you because you are respecting their desire to not be recorded. And that also builds a positive rapport with your client. She might recommend someone else, and that someone else might be open to being recorded.
If you can go back to day one, what would you have done then that you're doing now that is helping you like a lot in business?
Yeah, I would have reached out to another esthetician that I admired, and seek for kind of apprenticeship. because you spend a lot of money when you go at it on your own and you don't know what you're
Yeah.
doing. Yeah,
Yeah.
like I have a room just full of random stuff that I was like, I'm gonna order this, I'm gonna order this, and it's just like nothing really worked. So I know if I would have had someone to say, hey, don't order this steamer, order this steamer, or now it's not the time to order a steamer yet. You want to wait till then because these are expensive items, right?
Yeah.
So I would do that. I would definitely find someone who I admire, I respect their work, and I want to model my career after theirs. And then just reach out and send a DM and see, like, would you mind if I shadow you? You have to, at the beginning, you might have to work for free. That's a very real scenario, but it's okay because you're gaining knowledge, and then this knowledge is going to pay off in the future.
Mhm.
So that's the number one thing I would do. That, and then secondly, my social media platforms. Know what to post, know what not to post. When I started, my Instagram got restricted. Like they
Yeah, mine
banned me.
too.
Yeah, and then
Yeah.
Facebook banned me. Like they're like, we want nothing to do with you. So know what you're posting, and
Yeah.
then have an understanding of your audience and what is it that you want to bring to this industry and what is it that you want to bring to clients as well. Having those two clear ideas is really going to help you propel forward.
Last question, and thank you so much for doing
Yeah.
this. Um, if you had a room full of 100 women or men, doesn't matter, and they're all on the fence, should I get into this industry? Should I go to school? Should I do the years of training and all that stuff? What would you say to them? Would you give advice like make sure this is what you want, or more like, if this isn't a passion of yours, go another direction? Like, what would be your advice for them?
My advice, my first question would be, what's the life that you envision yourself living? Because when you know the type of life that you want to live, it makes it easier for you to start on point, A. Um, Waxing, I know the type of life I want to. I want to be a housewife. I want to stay at home, be a stay-at-home mom. Like, I'm not trying to work, okay? But I know that I want to be financially free, and I want to be able to provide for my family the things that I want to. So this is what I'm doing. I know it starts with waxing. This is the first building block. And then after this, it'll be maybe another location, maybe studios, maybe there's a lot of ideas, but you have to start somewhere. So I would say, know what type of life you're wanting to live. If you want to, travel from place to place, aesthetics is a great industry to do that in. You can be a makeup artist, you can be a wonderful specialist that specializes in very specific, high-end luxurious facials, who gets to travel around the world. So there's a lot of different avenues that you're able to take in this industry. But I think that's the first thing. You need to know the type of life that you're wanting to provide or like do for yourself. And you also have to be willing to always learn and invest in your craft, both time and financial, because it can be a little pricey.
Yeah, I get that. All right. Well, thank you so much for your time. You have a lot of knowledge and personality to go with it, which to me
Mm.
is always like a winning combination. If you're super smart and knowledgeable, but you don't know how to market or present yourself, it's like you only have half of the equation. So the
Mhm.
fact that you can be like the face of your business and you're actually an expert in what you do, that's just like a winning combination right there.
Thank
So
you. Thank you. Yeah, thank you.
all right. So I guess thank you then. And I'll talk to you soon.
Awesome. Thank you guys. It was great. I feel like there's so much to share, but
Yeah.
those were the answers that came to my mind. But there's so much rich kind of just like information and knowledge and wisdom, to share and to be learned as well, because I'm still very much learning through the process. But thank you guys. It
Yeah.
was great spending some time with y'all.
All right, we could definitely do a part two because like you said, there's so much more, but I didn't want to have for like an hour or so.
No, no, I got you.
Yeah, so we'll definitely set up like another one then.
Cool. Awesome. Bye, y'all.